And next, we would like to invite Ms. Cici Han's message. Cici, you have the floor.
Hey everyone, my name is Cici Han. I am an architect in training in the state of California and a mother of two. And I'm really honored here to participate in today's forum. I'm a Tai Ji Men dizi. I started practicing Qigong at the age of 13. Like many brothers and sisters who joined Tai Ji Men initially, all because of our health conditions. Since I was young, I had a very severe allergy and atopic dermatitis. Nasal congestion, sneezing, eczema follows me all year round, which had made my childhood miserable. My mother introduced me to Tai Ji Men because she thought Qigong would help my health, and it did. But what I have learned the most valuable thing from Tai Ji Men, from my shifu Dr. Hong, is the way to treat people and the way to treat myself. No matter how people look at us, at the end of the day, it is the conscience that we must face. My shifu told us that because life is full of ups and downs, we need to always find a balance in order to keep up with our life. He taught us ways and wisdoms to find a balance physically and mentally. What I learned from Tai Ji Men allows me to find my balance when hard times strike, so I am able to stay calm and grateful when life is challenging. The energy fields are all shared and connected, so our own good is not enough. We need to constantly spread positive influences onto the world to counterbalance the negative force in the universe. Practice Qigong to gain back health is the first part. Soon we realize that physical health is deeply connected with our state of mind. Our mental health is equally important, if not more. My shifu taught us yin-yang philosophy to help us differentiate right from wrong, good from evil, like a moral compass in heart, guiding us toward the correct path, even when we're lost. My shifu took us to visit 101 countries to spread the message of love, peace, and conscience. Conscience is a concept that everyone knows, but hardly choose to follow. Because there is too much baggage that we as humans like to carry around and hard to let go, such as pride, greed, vanity, and even plain laziness can easily cause us to deviate from our conscience. From Tai Ji Men, I learned that if I don't know how to react to a situation, then act according to my conscience. Do not conceal any fact or deceive just because of worrying about how others will react. If I make a mistake, of course, I will worry about how people will get angry and how I will be blamed. It's normal that people tend to find excuses or try to conceal their mistake, but it is not the right way or the sustainable way. Maybe my concealment or my deception will keep me away from liable, but God knows, and I know. And how am I able to face my conscience and sleep well at night? So I must admit the truth and own my mistake and take responsibility so my heart is free of guilt, so I can move on with my life. However, in the case of Tai Ji Men, a small number of illegal officials refused to admit their mistakes. Hou Kuan-ren, an unscrupulous prosecutor, illegally accused Tai Ji Men Shifu for years, accusing him of fraud, raising goblins, evading taxes. Hou Kuan-ren fabricated evidence, gave false testimony, and colluded with Shi Yuesheng, a tax collector from National Taxation Bureau. Lie and withheld evidence that favored Tai Ji Men, resulted in invalid judgments, deceiving the government, misleading the public opinion, and persecuting Tai Ji Men Shifu and Dizi for nearly 25 years. The bottom line is that this gang of illegals refuse to admit their mistakes, profit from them, shield one another, and had completely abandoned their conscience. In fact, the 6-year tax bills for which Tai Ji Men was prosecuted should have been revoked according to the law in 2007, when Supreme Court ruled that Tai Ji Men was not guilty, tax exempt, and did not violate the tax code. However, the 1992 tax bill remained because the National Taxation Bureau violated due process, failed to investigate an official, and concealed the evidence before issuing the bill. It also failed to give Tai Ji Men an opportunity to make a statement. As a result, the judge of the administrative court made a verdict in vain and misjudgment that Tai Ji Men need to be taxed before the Supreme Court decision in 2007. The National Taxation Bureau knew that Tai Ji Men had no tax evasion and no violation of tax code in 2007, but it still refused to admit its mistake and continued to issue tax bill against the law. The National Taxation Bureau even joined hands with the Administrative Enforcement Agency to illegally auction the land belonging to Tai Ji Men and forcibly nationalize it in August last year. Because of the illegal conduct of a few bureaucrats, the nation's stigma of robbing civilians' property is in no doubt. Taiwan takes pride in being a democratic country that values freedom and human rights. However, for its own benefit, the government allows rogue officials to abuse the state power and cause pain and misery to the people. The country we love is the one that hurts us the most. And such a situation takes place in Taiwan, which is known for being free, democratic, and low-governed. Is this an irony? In comparison to the separation of three powers in the United States, Taiwan has established the examination yuan and the control yuan. The purpose of the establishment of control yuan is to check and balance our government. The control yuan has the right to impeach and rectify the illegal acts of officials, hoping to prevent officials from illegal conduct and abuse of power. The control yuan, in fact, has investigated and determined that Prosecutor Hong Kwan-ren had 8 major violations when conducting the Tai Ji Men case. But no disciplinary action was ever imposed to him because of the rogue officials shielded one another. People who commit crime should be sanctioned by the law. As a public servant of the people, Hong Kwan-ren has not been held accountable or punished. Instead, his political career has skyrocketed. Imagine if a powerful government official made a mistake and people were persecuted. Some lost their entire wealth. Some lost their family and marriages. Some died from depression of being wrongfully accused. And the officials who have caused all this do not need to be held accountable and bear any responsibility, do not admit their mistakes, and have no compassion for their people, but only care about their political future and their profit, shield one another to protect their career. Ignore the voice of people who were persecuted, and the people have nowhere to ask for help. Isn't this the rhythm of a nation's ending? Is there any hope for Taiwan? People cannot escape from doing wrong. The willingness to face mistakes and bear the consequences is admirable because you must have the measure and the courage to bear the criticism. Admitting mistake is the first step. To be accountable for any consequence is the way to redeem yourself. Learn from mistakes and become a better person. We all educate our children this way. And we need our society full of this type of people. We need our country to be run by these honest, compassionate, and courageous people, so that Taiwan's future is bright and promising. I hope that these rogue officials will come up and admit their mistake, return our land, rectify the Tai Ji Men case, and take responsibility for the suffering of the people and the loss of the country in the past 25 years. I believe that the government has enough courage and wisdom to do the right thing and establish and implement a fair and equitable rule of law system as a guideline for the whole country. Government officials who are public servants of the people should administer according to the law. Rewards and punishments are strict, fair, and open. Do not waste a single penny of nation's money. Abolish the bonus system. Severely punish illegal and corrupt officials. Tax officials assess tax in accordance with the law. The people pay tax in accordance with the law. Everyone follows the law and follows its conscience. Taiwan will regain its reputation as a beacon of democracy in Asia. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Han. A big takeaway from Ms. Han's speech is when we make a mistake, admitting it is the first step. Then to be accountable for any liability is the way to redeem ourselves. When we learn from our mistakes, we become better people. May we all follow our conscience as guidance of our actions whenever there's any doubt. May the political leaders and officials in Taiwan be inspired with conscience as well and redress the unjust Tai Ji Men case. And next, let's invite Coco Ye for her presentation.
Dear Dr. Intervene and distinguished guests here, I'm honored to be here. My name is Coco. I'm a Tai Ji Men disciple, a Taiwanese American, and also a volunteer of Action Alliance to redress 1219. Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy is an international nonprofit cultural organization. It aims to advance physical, mental, and spiritual health of world citizens through Qigong practice, along with the yin and yang wisdom rooted in Taoism. Have you ever heard of Silicon Valley pressure cooker? So yes, I used to live in a pressure cooker. After I joined Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy, I let go of my stress and become more energetic, which leads to be more productive at home and work. Moreover, I turned life challenges into play and enjoyed helping others, which benefits my career growth and improve my interpersonal relationships. In 2018, I had an opportunity to follow Dr. Hong to volunteer for the World Leaders Summit of Love and Peace held at the United Nations, headquartered in New York. This event opened my heart and expanded my worldview. Dr. Hong told me that no one is fine until everyone is fine. Since then, I have become more aware of human rights and other global issues. Tai Ji Men is a joyful place, which can transform grudges into forgiveness. My dad is a survivor of World War II. The post-war trauma made him strong-minded and grumpy. Dr. Hong told me that happiness is a choice, not a result. His word inspired me to take my dad to Tai Ji Men in the hopes of rebuilding our relationships. I saw him carefully study every movement, as well as ponder Tai Ji Men, yin and yang wisdom. He was very happy to discuss philosophy with Tai Ji Men members and gradually let go of his past. So my dad passes away 3 years ago. At the time, my mom was devastated. Meditation gave me an anchor to be strong and be there for my mom. Spirituality And searching for meaning in life used to be a very nebulous concept to me. Dr. Hong taught me to cherish a relationship when the loved one is still alive, and let go of a relationship when the loved one deceased. I realized that life is short, so I need to take this opportunity to stand up for human rights, justice, peace, and conscience. I'd like to pay tribute to Dr. Hong and his wife, my shifu and shimu, for guiding me toward a better self. I'm a Taiwanese American. I love Taiwan. I love Taiwan's people and love Taiwan's culture. I also embrace American core values, freedom of belief, democracy, and human rights. According to a report, 2020 country report on human rights practices Taiwan, published by the U.S. Department of State, Taiwan is a democracy, significant human rights issue included, serious action of corruption. Through my own experience with Tai Ji Men case, I'm very much agree with this report. In 1996, Dr. Hong Kuan Ren accused Dr. Hong of raising goblins because there is a religious purge at the time that targeted religious and spiritual minority groups. It is also because Dr. Ho was greedy to advance his own career. After this case, he was also promoted. In the last 25 years, the National Taxation Bureau has been sending Tai Ji Men illegal tax bill through. Even though Tai Ji Men was declared innocent in judicial court on July 13, 2007, in August of 2020, National Taxation Bureau even confiscated Tai Ji Men's land intended for self-cultivation. The root cause is tax bonus. The tax collector and National Taxation Bureau receive a bonus for collecting tax, which entice the abuse of state power to fabricate false tax bills. Moreover, the few corrupted government officials is not sanctioned, even got promoted, which in return reinforce corruptions even more. As a volunteer of Action Alliance to address 1219, I have written numerous letters to Taiwanese government, and my voice is not heard. After I exhausted all channels within Taiwan's government, I like to seek assistance from international activists of anti-corruption and human rights. Taiwan is invited for the Summit to Democracy on December 9 through December 10 this year. Yes, Taiwan is democracy. However, as the United States President Biden stated, no democracy is perfect and no democracy is ever final. Because of my love to Taiwan, democracy and human rights, I'd like to call upon Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen to return Tai Ji Men its property, revoke all illegal tax bills, abolish the tax bonus, hold a few corrupted government officials accountable, stop corruption, respect the freedom of belief, and protect human rights. That way, Taiwan can be a solid democracy and a reliable partner of democracy. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Ye. I quote and unquote, no democracy is perfect and no democracy is ever final. We don't expect the democracy in Taiwan perfect. As a matter of fact, the democracy in Taiwan is far from final, and it doesn't justify the persecution it imposes on people's human rights and freedom of religion. Our next speaker, Ms. Polly Han, please, you have the floor.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for those joining us online. My mother's health has improved tremendously after she began practicing Qigong and Tai Ji Men when I was a child. Shortly after, she brought my sister and I to Tai Ji Men, where I became a member of this large family when I was 5 years old. The Los Angeles Academy was our home away from home during our early years in the United States, and it offered us a sense of belonging as newcomers to the country. Growing up in this large family, I learned a lot from my shifu, Dr. Hong, through his words of wisdom, Qigong practice, and volunteer work, which helped me realize my potential and gave me a sense of purpose in life. As a Qigong practitioner and a promoter for love and peace, I understand that in order to make a positive impact to this world, my actions must mirror my words. A culture of love, peace, and conscience must be lived. According to Dr. Hong, conscience is innate and emerges from within. And I've discovered over these years that we can always hear it, especially when we're making decisions. According to some estimates, an average adult makes more than 35,000 decisions a day. Some are significant while others are insignificant. Do I accelerate or slow down when a light turns yellow? We make a lot of decisions that we don't think that will have long-term implications, yet some are more significant and have larger ramifications. Our conscience, in my opinion, is always being tested. Do I stop and help someone who's in need if I have the resources to do so, or do I walk away? Negligence is also a decision. Do I turn a blind eye to someone who is in need of assistance? As a customs broker, I face a variety of dilemmas on a daily basis at work. Do I encourage importers to obtain proper classifications for their importing merchandise in order to comply with federal regulations to get the correct duty tax? Or do I willfully look away and allow importers to use the incorrect information in order to pay the lowest duty or avoid paying altogether? Actually, if I was caught doing that, I would be in big trouble. But if I can get away with it, well, I can see that's how corruption begins. People who commit crimes or contribute to corruption do so for personal gain, or they find themselves caught up in an existing corruption machine. And if they don't play it along, their lives or livelihood would be jeopardized. Many times, these machines are running so well on their own that defeating them requires more than one righteous person. Therefore, everyone, young and old, can play a role in putting an end to corruption. And it all starts with inspiring each other to follow their conscience. Make the decisions in your life that you know will allow you to sleep well at night. The Tai Ji Men case, the Control Yuan investigated prosecutor Ho Kwan-zhen, who investigated the Tai Ji Men case in 1996 and found him to have committed 8 major violations of the law. The Control Yuan requested that the Ministry of Justice take severe disciplinary actions against Ho. However, the Ministry of Justice did not do so. Rather than being punished, Ho Kwan-zhen was promoted to Deputy Director General of the Anti-Corruption Agency in 2018. This is corruption within the government agency, and that is just the tip of the iceberg. Government wrongdoings resulted in a fabricated and unjust case of Tai Ji Men. People will continue to be harmed and suffer in the future if the culprits are not being brought to justice and crime rings are formed. Government officials like you and me are human beings who make decisions day to day. While some rogue bureaucrats are cautiously participating in corrupt practices, I like to believe that there are many more who desire to do the right thing. Combating corruption is not a one-man job. It takes a village. Conscience must be awakened, and which entails that we must act on it. As a learning Tai Ji Men, if we desire a brighter future for our children, we must take the steps necessary to make our aspirations a reality. Listen and follow our conscience, one decision at a time. That, I believe, is the antidote to corruption. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Han. One unconscientious decision after another made by some rogue officials in Taiwan contributed to government corruption and persecution on Tai Ji Men and its dizi for 25 years. It stresses how important it is that each one of us, we need to always let our conscience guide our actions. Right. Thank you very much for joining us on stage to present your personal experiences and your thoughts. We would like to invite you all to go back to your seats as we enjoy a short play together. Next, please join me to welcome the conscientious warriors who are determined to reveal the truth and protect human rights. Let's give up for them.
A fake tax bill derived from a fake case revealed the problem in the Taiwan government. It suppresses and persecutes the people for 25 years. In case the prosecutors abuse their powers, cover up. When illegal tax bills are issued indiscriminately, cover up. An illegal auction, cover up. Also, when police illegally arrest the innocent, then cover up. What kind of government would do everything possible to hide the truth? The case against Tai Ji Men violates two international conventions, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights and the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, and has under international watch. Those officials who make mistakes are getting promoted instead of being punished for their wrongdoing. Regardless of being treated unfairly, Tai Ji Men disciples have always upheld the chivalrous spirit, never given up for promoting world peace and justice. Could it be that our world has lost axiom and justice?
Hi, my friends. Thank you for your persistence.
In the past, we all worked hard in various parts of the world. Now we are here together.
That's right, my friends. You are not alone. There are many righteous people around the world. And today, we are all here to support you.
Fight for justice.
Yes, it warms our hearts that along the way in fighting for justice and human rights, we have met friends who are standing side by side and supporting us. We have become friends and family. In return, with appreciation, we present to you with the love song. This is such a beautiful moment. Please stay where you are. Please stay where you are. Don't leave yet. We would like to invite Dr. Massimo to join us in the picture. Thank you. Right in the middle. Thank you very much. Oh. Right. The warriors come together. Standing closer together. All right. Thank you so much. Please return to your seat. May love heal our hearts and the world. Thank you so much. It was a beautiful song. Now we would like to welcome the second round of speakers. Ms. Michelle Shen, please come on the stage. Mr. Jeff Chen, Ms. Jessica Kuo. Thank you. Immediately, Michelle, would you like to share your thoughts with us?
Hello, my name is Michelle Shen. I'm an 8th grader studying in South Point Middle School from Los Angeles, California. I'm also part of Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy. Tai Ji Men is a spiritual group that focuses on improving physical, mental, and spiritual health. In Tai Ji Men, I've learned how to use conscience to make the right decisions. It is a very good place I've grown up in, and Tai Ji Men brothers and sisters love me as a family. I'm sad that they have been treated very unjustly by some Taiwanese officials. This summer, in the 2021 IRF Summit in Washington, D.C., I've met a lot of people from around the world working on the human rights fields. Many of them are experts in the freedom of religion or belief. I've met the co-chairs, Mr. Sam Brownback and Dr. Katrina Lantos-Sweat. Their speeches resonated with me. I've discovered that they are very kind people who kept mentioning about applying conscience to help people around the world. I had the opportunity to ask Dr. Katrina Lantos-Sweat how to use conscience to navigate the world. She was surprised that I had asked this question because of my young age. Actually, my shifu, Dr. Hong, from Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy inspired me to explore the world of conscience. We had a pleasant conversation about conscience and the world. As a Tai Ji Men dizi from Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy, I'd like to raise awareness about an unjust human rights persecution on Tai Ji Men Qigong Academy that has been oppressed in Taiwan for 25 years. In fact, the Control Yuan has even reviewed this case 3 times and found that there are many major flaws that the prosecutor and tax officials have made. Even so, prosecutor Ho Quan-ren accused Tai Ji Men of witchcraft, raising goblins, and other fabrications. It is very bizarre that Tai Ji Men is still being prosecuted even after they have won all court cases, confirmed not guilty, and received national compensation. Even so, prosecutor Ho Quan-ren has not been punished. There is no consequences for prosecutor Ho, the Tax Bureau, and those who confiscated the property of Tai Ji Men. Shockingly, prosecutor Ho was promoted instead. The staffs from the Taiwanese Tax Bureau who illegally auctioned people's property received the bonus. This is the worst example of breaking the rule of law. I've been fighting for this case ever since I was born. When I was 2 years old, my parents took me to protest at the Control Yuan. I've also participated in many other peaceful protests about this case. Everyone there has been so supportive and kind. I love Taiwan and its culture. All of my family relatives are living in Taiwan. It is a dismay that this case has happened in Taiwan. I think that it is crazy that only a couple of people could cause such tragedy to Tai Ji Men. Currently, I'm working on a documentary on this topic with my friend for a school project or National History Day. We are hoping this attracts more attention in this case, as we are planning on entering a competition with the film. I realized that the Tai Ji Men case highlighted the importance of truth and conscience. As we dove deeper into the topic, we discovered how many ordinary members were impacted by this case. Similarly, we also discovered the many flaws that the Taiwanese government has. This case is also a prime example of human rights violation by national power. Lastly, I want to encourage all government officials to stand up for Tai Ji Men unjust cases and listen to their conscience and have courage to make the right decisions. I hope by solving the Tai Ji Men unjust case, Taiwan can become a better country for the people and the world. Thank you all.
Thank you, Michelle. When an 8th grader sees right from wrong and wants to do something to make the persecution on Tai Ji Men stop, I see hope. And most importantly, I see what Tai Ji Men has taught her. That is to insist on doing the right things. Immediately, we're going to have our next speaker. Her name is Noemi M. Nagano, but since she could not be here with us today, we would like to welcome her message through a video. Please.
Hello, my name is Noemi Nakano, and I've been a Tai Ji Men member in LA for the past 7 years. I am extremely grateful and honored to be under the guidance of Grandmaster Dr. Hong. I have been reflecting for the past 7 years as I have been informed of the unresolved injustice of the Tai Ji Men case. I do not intellectually understand why the Taiwanese government has not held their unlawful tax bureau staff accountable. After 25 years of persistent evidence and law experts, even outside of the country, providing information that of such dishonest and extreme abuse to Taiwanese citizens, our Honorable Grandmaster Dr. Hong has patiently waited for justice, action of conscience from the Taiwanese Tax Bureau. Tai Ji Men Grandmaster teaches us honesty, bravery upon wrongdoing, the importance of love to the world, and following our conscience in all that we do. As we practice these virtues and teachings, it is with great sadness, but a heart filled with hope that I wait for justice to be soon practiced. A fair and humane Taiwanese Tax Bureau. Tai Ji Men Qigong, under the direction of our Grandmaster Shifu, Dr. Hong, has spread love and peace around the 6 continents, sharing the beauty of Chinese culture, the importance of conscience and a genuine heart with love to humanity. Perhaps this unjust practice from a few unscrupulous government officials in Taiwan's Tax Bureau toward Tai Ji Men, which is an honest and honorable group, is to demonstrate to the entire world how injustice and practiced worldly regardless of any identity. Especially government officials who hold public powers should not ignore the rules and violate human rights. They especially shouldn't rob people of their properties using illegal taxation, damaging people's rights to property. Example from history, countries like this would face destruction. Bribery is not a solution to settle these dishonest actions. And 25 years of persistence are to reveal the truth. The truth will always bring peace to mankind. My journey in Tai Ji Men has given me so much that it is very hard to describe such priceless, valuable treasure. I was raised with very old traditions of limiting women through the direction of father's rule. However, raised as the oldest of 6 women, my path in the United States with a different environment to put me in unbelievable spaces. My true essence was always questioned and repressed, especially by my parents. As a result, by the time I reached my 50 years of life, I reached a severe health crisis for what I had contained emotionally. I had always been a hard worker and found my many resources to work out my issues emotionally and medically. At the most critical time of my health, I finally found a caring Chinese herbal acupuncturist, Dr. Li, a Tai Ji Men member, who took care of me persistently, fixing one thing and encountering another medical issue. I can vividly remember, though, my treatments were painful physically, but I was able to perceive an unbelievable peaceful presence and an amazing smile that radiated joy and hope. I thought I could be that way one day. On my first visit to the academy, I was impressed with the hospitality and the warmth of the Tai Ji Men family. I had suffered irregular sleeping patterns due to my mother's medical issues and my medical issues. And at first, that night, I slept deeply and woke up feeling rested. Eventually, my family, friends, and students saw my changes and would comment on a different Noemi. Noemi was radiant, smiling, and in peace. The aggressive confrontations in my work were observed, and I would gently smile and give empathy to the aggressor. I was admired for such a presence in spite of such hostile people. I was so grateful to be a role model to my students. In March of 2020, I finally became brave enough to accept an invitation to participate as a FOPAL volunteer in my country, Mexico, promoting the first International Day of Conscience. All fell into place, and with a brave heart right before pandemic lockout, we returned to our country's lockout, facing quarantine safety measures for the well-being of our families. I have been home on lockout for the safety and care of my mom's hospice care as a patient. I have peacefully and joyfully embraced the care of my mother 24/7, as her decline has needed total reliance on my care, especially with her dementia. I find joy and gratitude in my home surroundings. In the midst of all this chaos, despair, uncertainty, violence, and hypersensitivity to COVID-19 pandemic in the outside world, my health has been excellent. I have been in peace and with a joyful heart, spread a smile on the cell phone, phone calls, or video chats. My spiritual life has been tremendous. I have found the proper words and expressions of love to those who have or are grieving painful losses. There have been moments when I question, how can I be living in such a peaceful and joyful moment when the world is in complete despair and chaos? I could only come to the conclusion that Shifu has given me the tools and the wisdom to confront in such challenging moments in life. A loving heart to mankind, regardless of its essence, and a peaceful, joyful heart in the midst of humanity facing tremendous grief and chaos. I thank my Grandmaster, Dr. Hong, with all my heart. Lastly, I hope the government of Taiwan rectify that Tai Ji Men case and stop impeding Tai Ji Men's efforts in spreading love and peace around the world. And I also hope that everyone can enjoy freedom, equality, and human rights can be protected. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Nagano. It's a very touching, life-changing story of yours that you shared with us. Many of us, Tai Ji Men dizi, have shared similar experiences in Tai Ji Men. Shifu teaches us dizi, wisdom of life, and provides academies for dizi to cultivate their heart and where brothers and sisters learn from each other and improve themselves. We're calling out to Taiwanese government to return the sacred land for cultivation to Tai Ji Men immediately. August 21st of this year was the 1-year mark since Tai Ji Men's land was confiscated. We will continue to fight for the retrieval of our land as it is ours and was taken because of an unjustified tax bill. Let's take a look at this next video that unveils the truth of this unjust case.
The auction process has been legally concluded.
I saw a strip of shadow in his eyes. I think that he might have raised goblins.
If based on the look in your eyes, a prosecutor can decide whether to prosecute you or not, then there will be no peace in Taiwan.
Where the indictment is unacceptable. If the tax authority uses this indictment as the basis for taxation, I think it is questionable.
The code doesn't count. The code doesn't count. The code doesn't count.
It has been confirmed that the money involved is a gift rather than income. So there is no issue of income tax.
You can go to the website of the Control Yuan to see that I have issued 7 corrections. For each correction, the NTB said, we made a mistake.
Tai Ji Men once again won the case. Even the Control Yuan decided that Tai Ji Men is innocent. I can't think of any other course of action in our country's legal system can be taken to solve the case.
The administrative agencies exercise administrative discretion. They have to ensure that people's human rights on taxation are protected.
The whole judicial system has proved Tai Ji Men innocent. There's no way the investigation by the tax agencies is clearer than that by the judicial department.
Has wasted too much time and resource. This is very serious, and it has shaken the 5 branches of government and the foundation of the nation. Calling on the Taxation Bureau to revoke its illegal tax bills. You just ignore them. Hey, you think you're above us? You ignore courts, the Control Yuan, and even the Legislative Yuan. You really think you're the boss?
We request that the Ministry of Finance conclude this case in 2 months.
Gifts in nature. The others all say gifts too. Let the NTB of the Central Area submit the report to the Ministry of Finance. Okay, we'll do as the Deputy Minister says. Revoke it. Okay, area will report to the Ministry of Finance.
Between 1966 and 1990, Tai Ji Men had no tax problems. From 1997 to this day, Tai Ji Men has had no tax problems either. Why did you impose taxes on Tai Ji Men only for 1991 to 1996?
Thousands of people surround the auction site in Miaoli. The people still sat and wait to defend the land. The Tai Ji Men case, in which over 10,000 people have been victimized, has lasted for 24 years. But the enforcement agency still wanted to auction the land of Tai Ji Men to pay back a wrong tax bill when Tai Ji Men was found not guilty of tax evasion by the court 13 years ago.
Since it is a problematic judgment, the enforcement agency should not have executed it. So why did they execute it? Why? It's a question of bonuses. When the Tai Ji Men case was handled like this, will ordinary people encounter the same problem? Definitely.
Search was conducted on December 19, 1996. He said that there was tax evasion. The income tax in 1996 cannot be audited until April 1997. They had not yet filed their taxes. How could you investigate tax evasion? How do you know how they will file their tax return? Therefore, the tax years involved in the case clearly showed that this violated the tax law. During the search on December 19, 1996, 2 bank statements show the balance of $22,000. However, the next day, a newspaper published that the master of Tai Ji Men had $110 million income from fraudulent acts and cram school tuition. You can't make such an inference even when you are writing a novel. The so-called evidence obtained after the search can be proved to be false, because you already said the amount. The transcripts and testimony. When were they done? Definitely after December 20th. Could I know how much tax you have evaded the minute I am assigned to the case when auditing taxes? It's more than illegal taxation. It's the so-called framing. $22,000 was blown up to be $110 million. Then this is all imagined. It's very clear in the Tai Ji Men tax case that the tax officers and Taxation Bureau imposed illegal taxes. Imposing taxes based on imaginary data is absolutely against the principle that taxes should be imposed according to the law.
To the Taiwanese government to take action and correct the mistakes conducted by a few rogue bureaucrats 25 years ago, ensure the human rights that Tai Ji Men and Taiwanese people deserve. And next, we would like to invite Mr. Chen to share his thoughts on this case. Mr. Chen, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Hi everyone, my name is Jeff Chen. I'm the software engineer. I joined Tai Ji Men when I was 7. In 1993, my grandpa died in a car accident. Everyone in my family was devastated, especially my grandma. She was very sad, and she could barely eat or drink. That is when a family friend introduced Tai Ji Men to us, and my grandma first joined. Her shifu, Dr. Hong Daozi, taught her to let go of the past, look forward, and find happiness and inner peace. She started smiling again very soon, and she asked all of us to join, and her shifu became our shifu. Before joining Tai Ji Men, I was very shy. I tried to avoid public attention as much as possible. However, after joining Tai Ji Men, shifu told us to be confident and to open our mind and to become a better person. Since then, I started opening my mind and made more friends. I even got selected as a class leader at school for several times. Unfortunately, in 1996, Tai Ji Men became a victim of religious persecution in Taiwan. With very limited investigation and with false evidences and witnesses, prosecutor Hou Kuan-ren accused Shifu and several brothers and sisters for fraud and tax evasion. He even asked the tax officer Shi Yuesheng, who had never conducted any factual investigation about Tai Ji Men, to commit perjury. Shi Yuesheng falsely accused Tai Ji Men as a crime school and suspicious of tax evasion. On December 19, 1996, when prosecutor Hou Kuan-yuan first came to Tai Ji Men to do a search, he not only brought his team, but he also brought the media. This is a big violation of the principle of secret investigation. The Tai Ji Men case is all over the evening news that day. Before prosecutor Hou Kuan-yuan concluded the investigation, and before judge's ruling, we were already found guilty by the media. In 1996, I was only 11. At school, my friends started laughing at me for being a member of Tai Ji Men. They say Tai Ji Men is a cult. They say shifu is a fraud. They say my parents got scammed. Some of the parents even asked their kids to stay away from me, fearing that I might have some negative effects on them. I was so angry and upset, but there's nothing I could do. Since then, I lost the trust in the Taiwanese government and the media. I always put on a big question mark on whatever the government or the media try to tell us. To me, the whole government system is like a huge black box. I don't know what's inside, and there's no transparency. In 2007, Taiwan Supreme Court ruled all the defendants in Tai Ji Men case not guilty. There is no fraud, there is no tax evasion. In 2019, the National Taxation Bureau, the NTB, corrected the tax deposition, the fines of income tax, and the other related items to zero for the tax bills of 1991 and 1993 to 1996. But what about the tax bill for 1992? Somehow, the NTB is not willing to correct the 1992 tax bill. Last year, they even used the 92 tax bill to take away shifu's property, just like we all saw from the video. This is obviously wrong. Tai Ji Men has been the same organization throughout the years. And there is nothing special in the year of 1992. We didn't suddenly become a crime school just in 92. I don't know why the NTB is not willing to revoke the 92 tax bill. All I know is that tax officials got some kind of bonuses when they open the tax bill, regardless if it's right or not. They get the bonuses again when they confiscate people's property, just like what they did and when they took away shifu's property. By definition, corruption is the dishonest and fraudulent conduct by those in power. If the tax officials filed a tax bill and took away Tai Ji Men's property just for their personal gain, that is corruption. They should have known better than anyone else that the 1992 tax bill was illegal from the very beginning. To mark International Anti-Corruption Day, 9th of December, and raise awareness about corruption and how to fight it, the United Nations Development Program and the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime created a joint international campaign called Your No Counts. Your no counts. As a government official or a government leader, you should always say no to whatever is not right. You should always say no to any unlawful or suspicious tax assigned to you. You should always the challenge made by your manager or your coworker and see if it's illegal or legit. I hereby urge the National Taxation Bureau and the Taiwanese government to correct their mistakes. revoke Tai Ji Men's 1992 tax bill, return Tai Ji Men's sacred land, and begin following all the good practices and philosophies to better serve the people of Taiwan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chen. We are here to say no to the Taiwanese government. No more illegal tax bills. No more persecution on our rights to freedom of religion. No more illegal enforcement on people's properties. No more. And next, we're going to have Ms. Jessica Kuo to share with us her experience.
Hello, everyone. It's a great honor to be here today from Canada. I joined Tai Ji Men at the age of 19, and I simply just wanted to cultivate my heart and raise my spiritual level. After practicing more than a year, the Tai Ji Men incident happened. I recalled that Shifu never told me anything negative, but rather a positive outlook on life. Therefore, I was not affected by the exaggerated and untrue reports from the media at that time. I still went to Tai Ji Men every day and practiced Qigong with brothers and sisters because it was already my second home. However, I was still concerned about wearing the uniform to walk around outside because of the strange looks I felt from others. My college classmate, who is also a Tai Ji Men sister, once told me, after the incident, she had concern about me and was observing me in some ways that I was completely unaware of. During the 4 years we spent together, she found I had good fellowship with others. I was genuine and kind, and she saw my way of doing things. Especially when she was facing a challenge at work, I sang the song, "What a Bright World," that I learned from Tai Ji Men to encourage her. And the lyrics were asking us to open our hearts and let the sunshine come in. She was crying while listening and exclaimed in her heart, "How could somebody be so bright and positive?" She wondered what Tai Ji Men was about and began to open her heart to learn more about us, eventually becoming a disciple. Looking back on the whole journey, I realized that Shifu wanted us to learn to be honest to ourselves, fix our own shortcomings, comprehend the true purpose and value of life, and attain the greatest joy of helping others and ourselves. I'm glad I didn't let the ridiculous incident impact me a lot. Instead, I accept Shifu's teachings and use the wisdom to influence others in my daily life. So they may get the benefit to face the challenges of their life as well. I will never be able to finish learning the wisdom that Shifu taught me. When I worked as a family counselor for immigrants in Canada, every time I encountered a difficult problem with a client, many of Shifu's teachings would come to my mind. I have come to realize that the wisdom I have learned in Tai Ji Men can be a great help to everybody, mentally and physically. How wonderful it would be if they all had the opportunity to be inspired by Shifu, to learn good wisdom, so that they could be transformed physically and mentally. But it is sad to see how many families have lost the opportunity because of this wrongful case. I remember in 2001, when Shifu came to DC to attend the inauguration of President Bush, which was also my second year of graduate study. I met up with Shifu and brothers and sisters from Central New York State. The weather in January was wet and cold, and I was impressed by the statement we received from the people of China outside the White House. I remembered that shifu stopped for a moment and asked us, what inspiration do we get from that? We should learn the spirit of never giving up. Shifu's words were still fresh in my mind, but I never thought that we would be the ones to come over here to DC to present our case for the Taiwanese government's contempt of the rule of law and the injustice that we have suffered. And this happened in the so-called democratic Taiwan, which is really saddening to think about. Overseas Taiwanese are extremely disappointed that the government ignores the judicial decision and actually uses such tactics to rob the money from their people. I admire Shifu for never having the mentality of paying a little unjustified tax to get rid of the problem. Although it is a long and difficult way, but Shifu leads us on the path of justice and truth and asks us to actually experience it. Not to mention that today's efforts will actually affect the survival of many families and how important it will be to the future of a democratic country. During this period, disciples living in Canada also raised the issues and sent the letters to the three Taipei economic and cultural offices in Ottawa, Toronto, and Vancouver. But these Taiwanese officials who were supposed to serve the overseas Taiwanese do not really care about us. Taiwan is a country that values Canada is a country that values human rights, respects freedom of religion, and is multicultural and inclusive. This year, September 30th, is the first legal holiday, which we call the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation, established by the Parliament to honor the innocent victims of the past. This is what a mature democracy with the rule of law looks like. No matter how many years have passed, when faced with a mistake, the government is still willing to admit it and apologize and make amends to the people. We should continue to insist on doing the right thing and not allow ourselves to be bullied by Taiwanese government, breaking the law and trampling on the rule of law. We should not do what is wrong or compromise, because justice and righteousness are irreplaceable universal values, and freedom of belief is a basic human right that cannot be taken away. If we continue to choose neutrality and silence, we are assisting the abuser and fostering criminality. Holding the truth and preserving justice is critical, not only for the fairness and justice of the legal and tax systems, but also for inherent human rights and the future security and peace of future generations. Finally, I'd like to take this opportunity to express my heartfelt gratitude to Massimo, Pierluigi, Willie, Camelia, Alex, and all the experts and scholars around the world who have supported justice and truth. I'm very grateful for your companionship and support along the way. Every one of you is an angel leading the way of human rights, making us feel that we are not alone on the right path, and inspiring us to believe that justice and peace will finally prevail sooner in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Kuo. Jessica mentioned the first National Day for Truth and Reconciliation was celebrated this year by Canada to honor innocent victims of the past. It presents true democracy when a government is willing to admit and correct its wrongdoings. We are calling out to the Taiwanese government again to redress the unjust Tai Ji Men case immediately, to show Taiwanese people and the world that Taiwan is truly a beacon in democracy of Asia. Thank you for sharing with us your stories and thoughts today. And I would like to invite you to go back to your seats. Thank you very much. Today's program has come to an end. Well, almost. Next, I would like to ask Dr. Massimo if you wouldn't mind wrapping up this forum with your closing remarks on the stage.
Thank you. And as all of you know, we are preparing with this forum the International Day Against Corruption and the International Day of Human Rights. And they will come one day after the other. So almost all speakers have focused on these two concepts. First, corruption, and the second, human rights. And several speakers, including Willy Fautré, Camelia, and Professor Zoccatelli, and Alex, and many witnesses, they ask the question whether corruption is in itself a violation of human rights. And as we heard, this is a debated question in international fora, because as Camelia said, when the United Nations issued the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, they didn't mention corruption. And yet the full enjoyment of the human rights consecrated in that declaration was frustrated by corruption. So scholars have considered this connection between corruption and human rights, and United Nations themselves have considered this link. Now, some of those who are listening to us, they may believe this is an academic question debated by scholars, or this is a legal question better left to specialized lawyers such as Alex, but it is not. It's totally crucial for the Tai Ji Men case, because when you say we were persecuted by corrupted officials, if corruption is just a case of criminal law, it's a case to be addressed by courts in Taiwan. And the courts in Taiwan have the final word on issues of criminal law. If they don't solve the problem, there is nothing you can do. They're just bad courts. But if corruption, as we believe it is, and increasingly the United Nations believe it is, and increasingly the European Court of Human Rights believes it is, and increasingly the United States believes it is, then things all of a sudden change. Because human rights issues, as Professor Zoccatelli said, human rights issues are by their very nature international. Not to mention that Taiwan has accepted to include the two main United Nations covenants in its domestic law. But beyond this important fact lies the idea that human rights are international. So international institutions and other countries should not interfere on how criminal law or administrative cases are handled in one given country, but they should interfere when human rights are violated. all totalitarian regimes and dictators say they should not. No, no, no. Even human rights issues are domestic issues, but it's now clear human rights issues are universal issues. They are not purely domestic issues. And other countries and international organizations, they have both a right and also a duty to interfere. So again, let me be clear, to the risk of repeating myself. If this was a purely criminal case in Taiwan, there is not much foreigners can do. But since corruption is part of human rights, it is an international issue. We have every right of internationalizing. Now, of course, let me touch briefly another point. The Tai Ji Men case is not only a human rights case because of corruption. Of course, today, in anticipation of the International Day Against Corruption, all speakers focused on corruption. But the Tai Ji Men case is a human rights case also, or perhaps first and foremost, because it's a violation of form, freedom of religion or belief. And also cases of form can and should be internationalized. But in addition to violate the human rights because of it violates form, what was done to Tai Ji Men in Taiwan is also a violation of human rights, because down deeply is based on corruption of some bureaucrats, and corruption is a case of violation of human rights. So we are not twisting international law when we ask, and that's the reason why we are here today, we ask that international organizations or even national organizations in countries such as the United States that deal with international abuse of human rights take an interest in the Tai Ji Men case, because it is a human rights case. It is a case of violation of freedom of religion or belief. It is a case of violation of the enjoyment of human rights through corruption. And as such, it's a case of international importance. And we are here to ask the international organizations and to ask the agencies of the government of the United States that deal with violation of human rights to intervene, because it's their mandate to intervene when human rights are violated all over the world. And the Tai Ji Men case is a very clear case when, unfortunately, in a democratic country, but democratic countries are not exempt from human rights violation, unfortunately, in a democratic country, human rights have been seriously violated, and this is an international case, and this is a case where we should ask and raise our voice and even scream that the international community should intervene and take notice and protest against the violation of human rights of Tai Ji Men, and ask that the situation be rectified, perpetrators should be punished, system should be reformed, and the sacred land illegally and unjustly seized should be given back to Tai Ji Men. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Massimo. Thank you so much, Dr. Massimo, for very organized closing remarks, and and also pointing out that Tai Ji Men case seemingly was an unjust tax case, but it actually closely tied to human rights violation due to government officials' corruption. And Tai Ji Men case is not only corruption, but it's a human rights violation. And it's not just Tai Ji Men case anymore. It's global, it's universal. And thank you so much for bringing all the experts and scholars from around the world together and support us in the Tai Ji Men case. And we really appreciate your efforts. And thank you so much. What have you been doing brings hope to the whole world. Thank you very much for joining us today. And we will, as my final remarks, we will not give up. Let's keep fighting for Tai Ji Men justice and fighting for human rights for the whole world. Thank you very much.
truth about the Tai Ji Men case. Taiwan Supreme Court found Tai Ji Men